Hey guys, instead of Casual Friday, it is Casual Thursday, and that means Medium Nancy Matz is here. And what we're going to be talking about is ghosts. What do you want to know about ghosts? Well, why do ghosts stay in certain places? Well, we're going to find out. And we're going to find out how to help them as well. See you in about 5 minutes. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? I'm doing okay. Things are drying out, finally. Gosh, it was awful. And you know what's beautiful? After this weekend, there's going to be like a week of sunshine. Oh my God. It's time for pulling those, if you have Christmas decorations out front or whatever you got to do it before the next round comes in, right? All right. Well, my name is Charlotte, and I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the host of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team, and I can almost say it's sunny Sacramento again. So, we're from sunny Sacramento. We're 45 strong up and down the state, which means if there is a paranormal need that you have, we can get to you. Or, if you think you have something paranormal going on, we can get to you. Might take us a while because California is a big state, right? But we will get to you. We also have affiliates in Oregon, Washington, Nevada, and Hawaii. So, if that helps. Anyway, welcome tonight. And it's an interesting night because it's Thursday night. So tonight's casual Thursday instead of casual Friday. Because our guest for tomorrow requested Friday, so we flipped Nancy. I kind of reached up and flipped her right over. It was funny. Cartwheel style, right? Flipped her right over. Yeah, so anyway, Nancy's coming on tonight. We're going to be talking about ghosts, why they hang out, why are they on your property, why do they stay in certain spots, why when you drive down the road, the lady in white's beckoning at you to slow down so she can get in your car. What's up with that, right? So we're going to be talking about stuff like that tonight. Okay, if you're watching on Facebook and you're watching on YouTube, remember to hit those like buttons. And also, if you're watching on Facebook, hit that follow button. And if you're watching on YouTube, here we go. Zoom on in. There it is. Right there. There's that little ghost. Click on that, and that'll pop up that red subscribe button. And subscribe. If you're somebody that's come over from TikTok, we hope. Same thing for you over on YouTube, and hit that subscribe button. We're excited to have you. We're excited to have anybody that's new that comes over to listen to us. Anybody that wants to listen to us every week, hey, we're good. We're good. So anyway, welcome, and you can find me on YouTube. You can find California Haunts, California Radio on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and Twitch. I keep forgetting my Twitch audience. Sorry, guys. Same thing with Twitch. If you like the show, follow me. Follow. But on Instagram, I am Ghosty Gal. It's all lowercase. On YouTube, we are California Haunts Radio. That's youtube.com/ampersand California Haunts Radio. On Facebook, we are California Haunts Radio and California Haunts and my name. Okay. And on Instagram, like I said, Ghosty Gal lowercase. So I gotta remember all these things. On Twitter, we're Cal Haunts. Okay. And on TikTok, we're California Haunts. We're all lowercase. That's crazy, huh? Now, if you happen to know about Discord, we also have a Discord where people can go chat after hours, talk about all kinds of stuff. Well, that's the California Haunts Ghostly Groupies. All right, and I don't know if I put a link in there today, but I'll get some more invitation links out for that. Anyway, without further ado, oh yes, I know the other announcement. I've been thinking about this trip to Disneyland, and it's not fair to you guys that always watch the show for me to broadcast solely on TikTok. It's not right. It's not fair. So I'm going to be going out on YouTube so that you guys can enjoy it too. So I'm getting the equipment necessary for YouTube so that I can do that for you, because I don't think it's fair to broadcast just solely on TikTok, because not everybody has TikTok. So we will be going out live on YouTube for the Disneyland trip. So I will take you with me. You're going to be in my pocket or wherever you're going to be, but we're going to be cruising around and getting on the rides and making fools of ourselves and all that good stuff. And you can even see the food I eat. Ooh, scary. So yeah. So that's what I'll be doing. So I'm going to take you with me. Okay. All right. Anyway, with that being said, let's bring Nancy in.
Oh, hello, Char. Yes, this is a different night, but that's perfectly okay. I'm sure that we'll be.
I was going to need a day off tomorrow after this.
Pardon me?
Well, because I'm always off Saturday. Now
Right,
I'm all
right.
confused. I'm all confused now.
I actually asked my husband what day it was today, and I thought it was Friday because I was thinking of you, and he says trash to pick up today, so it's Thursday. Oh, okay.
See, we're all confused.
Remind me what day it is.
All
People
of
who work from
our internal clocks are thrown off now.
people who work from home, who
Uh
have
huh.
their own business, always. I have a calendar, and so I write my clients if they want a session. I write it right down because I sometimes forget what day it is. I have to look on the calendar for, the computer has a little date thing on the bottom. I'm always
Right.
looking at that to make sure I know what day it is, let alone what time zones everybody's at. And so it's kind of like always, I feel like I'm always doing this, let alone people from different countries. Australia gets me messed up all the time. I go, what is that? What day is it? And then in Australia, from one side to the other, is also different time zones. So
Well, I go
I
through
love
that
it.
with the show. I mean, there's times when I'm doing an 11 p.m. or midnight show
Uh-huh.
because I'm accommodating somebody over in Australia or over in England, or over on the,
And they're
no,
having lunch in Australia, In England, I have
it's not,
clients in England and it's 9 hours. So,
yeah,
she says, call me at 1. It's actually 10 o'clock her time.
yeah.
I tell you, it's really fun trying to keep up with
It
all
gets
these hours and
confusing,
days. And I'm sure that if people are looking for me, they're going to find me, tomorrow
right?
night, even though they
Right.
can't get on. I, I haven't had a chance to see if we have any people jumping in. Oh, there's a John fella. You're not
Yeah.
confused. I'm so glad he's not confused. At least there's one, and it's a new name. I don't remember seeing a John before.
He's
But
over from Twitch. He's from Twitch.
okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have a Twitch viewer. But
Twitch.
it's like when it hits me is when I'm not only doing those night shows, is when I'm doing the pre-recorded shows ahead of time
Yeah.
because a lot of that stuff that I do from like England and the UK and those different places are pre-recorded because of the time difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Right.
yeah, and so it gets confusing. And then when I start doing a lot of them rapidly, it gets really confusing. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, you're over. Oh, yeah, like you say, Australia. Oh my God, trying to figure out Australian time.
Well,
But it
that's
gets
what I'm
confusing.
saying. East Coast and West Coast of Australia, I have different clients, many different cities,
Yeah,
including Kelly, who comes in. She's she's south of Perth, but there was other people there. And
yeah.
John's really getting carried away here. Bless his heart.
John's having time. We like
and
John.
she
John's cool.
and he's in California. Now he
Cool.
says Central
He's
Coast.
he's one of us. Yeah, John. That's it. That's it. Well, then you got to factor in Canada because Canada's on some of Canada. I don't know if it's all on Eastern time zone.
No, I have Canadian clients and they have the same kind of zones that we have.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. But I'm just saying. And then you got Hawaii. Hawaii is another one. They
4
they're
hours,
like 2 hours behind or 3 hours
4,
behind.
3 and
Oh,
4.
is that what it is?
Mhm.
See, so it gets confusing. It really does. Okay, tonight. Da-da-da-da. Do you have a ghost in your house? Do you have a ghost in your office building? I sound like Ghostbusters, don't I? Well, we're here to get it out. No. Um, or have you been driving down that lonely road and had the lady in white come out and beckon to you and wonder why she's still hanging out on that lonely road? Huh? Or have you seen something off the side of the road you can't explain and it's still hanging out there and you don't know why? We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about why the dead hang out.
I have quite a list, and a lot of these I will give examples because they come from my life, my client's life. There's one I saw. Let's see, what was it? Hmm, I don't know if I saw another show or clip. I think it was a clip. I can't remember, but I'll talk about it. And I always say what I see somewhere else versus my own
Yeah,
experiences, and that's only to be fair. And I like the ones where you have a video that I'm going to reference tonight of a video I saw and there's a couple of them that really scared the heebies out of me. I go, oh no, how many times does that happen to us? Statement. And it's all to be carefully evaluated if these things happen to you or people. Yes, I do talk to them. I try to get them out of their stuck spot. A lot of them won't hear me if they're truly a ghost and what I call either unconscious or conscious enough they do not want to change. And I will speak of those. I have a big list, so we got to get started here.
go for it.
Okay. Um, so in my 32 years, I have
That's
so many
enough.
stories. Huh?
That's enough.
Right? Well, I'm still
Go ahead.
working. I had
Sorry.
Jen in another show asked if I do readings, and I do. And at the end of the show, my web address is going to be there. So
Right.
it's my
Sorry.
name,
I
nancymatz.com.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, we have fun with this. Don't worry about it. Uh, and so I'm going to start right with the most obvious ghosts who don't think they are dead. And that can happen a lot of different places. Can you imagine the old West, someone getting shot, laying in the street? They get up and they're real still ready to have the fight. That has happened. I actually saw that in Tombstone. Some guy's walking around with a gun in his hands,
Mhm.
and I suspect he got shot and didn't realize he had been killed. I think that happens a little more we wanted to know. Car accidents. How many people have seen the photograph of the tourist? He was driving by what we call a really bad looking accident with two ambulances. Just above him was a spirit hovering. Sometimes they look down and go, am I dead? They have questions. You can fall out of your body. I had a gentleman fall out of his body, um, and he didn't think he was dead, but he didn't know why he rolled out of his body. He stood there, and then he tried to get back in his body. These are people who are not alive anymore, but they try to get back in the body, or they are stuck. Um, just recently, I had a real estate agent call me. I have a lot of friends, friends and not relatives, but clients who are real estate agents, and they were going to sell a house to a couple, but someone had died in it. And he is very perceptive, and he said, I feel like I need to talk to you about this. I feel like there's someone in there. And of course, I'm not going to drive hours to try to find this place. So I talked him how to do it. Walk in the front door. If there's a wall there, go to the other side, but directly 2 steps in to the right. Well, no matter what room it is, he's standing there. And it's almost like he had this quandary look on his face, like, huh, as though he wasn't as sure that he was dead, but he was thinking something's not right, but I really want this thing. And so the thing was why he was still standing there, because it blocked him. I have a lot of clients that go through what we call recovery process, intervention. They want to get over drugs, they want to get alcohol. It's not an area that I have a lot of expertise. Luckily, the universe says, we'll send to somebody else who has a lot of training in that. I don't have training in drug and alcohol issues, but I do address, and I'm thinking of somebody who passed away a long time ago. His name was Dick, and he was forever eating hard candy. And I go, what are you always eating hard candy? And, it's just a casual, because he was like this. And he says, well, I'm a recovered alcoholic and I have to have something in my mouth, and it usually is a sweet item. And I had always remembered that, not that it is part of my world, but I just put it back in my head and remembered it. So this gentleman showed me addiction. Like there was a side of him that was an addiction issue. And I didn't know. I says, do you know if this gentleman had an addiction issue? And he says, no, but I'll check it. I'll check it out. And I says, well, the feeling of need of something like this, and it could be any level of addiction. Ask me about coffee, right? So it's not addiction, but after I die, I'm not going to stand here and say, wish my coffee were here with me. So the gentleman called the real estate agent and did find out that when they cleaned the house out, the refrigerator was full of chocolate. And a lot of
Right.
times, alcohol, drug addicted individuals who recovered crave sweet and chocolate. And I did tell him that, and I never found out the end result. Maybe I just should have done that, but gotten around to it. So an addiction issue can keep you here. Um, so unfortunately, I want to talk about something really sensitive here. If you're an addicted personality and you are missing your drug of choice, you could die and not realize you died, and you're just all you could think about is where's my product, or you think someone's taking your product and you take after them, or you go and you die and you go, wow, I've dead. I've not been a good person because I've done this. Now I'm afraid to go to heaven because I'm going to go to hell, because you judge yourself. This individual was missing his chocolate, and the reason was that was his way of dealing with his addiction, past addiction issues. I find that more common than we realize. Even clothing, women shopping in clothing stores, dead people, they're always wanting to do this. And you think, Ooh, I like to shop. Does that mean I'm going to be addicted to shopping? Maybe they had an addiction to something else and shopping replaced it. Who knows? So I think that anytime you take it to extreme, those are issues that could hang you to the earth when you pass over. And why don't they pass over if we're all greeted by somebody? It's because they block it. They don't want to see that person because their addiction is more important. That's pretty tough. I started with that. Not good. Ghosts who don't think they're dead could come in all kinds of situations. A car accident. I mentioned that before. Sudden death, even at a theater. What if you die of a heart attack in theaters and everybody doesn't know you're dead? You're going to stand there and go, well, I want to finish this movie, or I want to try to sit back down. It could be pretty strange. Um, there's a couple of things I want to mention, and unfortunately, I think I went out of order. So I want to make sure that I covered these things. And we only have 45 minutes more, so please, anybody, did a ghost actually mention heaven or hell? Oh, John, thank you. A ghost wouldn't. A ghost is someone who is obsessed, overtaken, blinded, can't hear, stuck in a loop, that kind of thing. Spirit people do not ever have I heard, I'm going to cross the boundary here, never ever talk about hell. Uh, they talk of a group, a community. They're going to go where everybody else is. I took that to be heaven. Um, one more statement with that. Hold on. I have never ever heard them talk about religion, ever. Kind of makes you wonder. Kind of makes you wonder. Like religious groups, and I'm part of a religious group myself, a spiritualist church minister, and um, a community is why we belong to churches. Ideology, absolutely. It could be political groups, and I know that happened for years here. But um, never ever have I heard people talk of death, hell rather. But near-death experiencers, when you die and you're having a near-death experience, what you're anticipating, what you think you should see and do, is what you'll experience. So those who have had a life that maybe they're not real proud of, if they think they're going to go to hell, that's what they'll see. Um, the people I talk to have never seen it. The people who show up to greet other people never speak of it. I
What
just
I
had a death. Yes.
what was so not to interrupt. What I always felt is going on with that is that we all have religion, like Nancy says, for that. Excuse my allergies. We all have religion for that community feeling. Something to
Mhm.
believe in. If we don't have something to believe in, then there's really no point in our lives. I mean, you want to have happy
Well, we
things to
want
think about.
community, want to belong, we
Right,
want to
right,
have
right.
a belief structure.
And I think the religions are what people believe in. And I think what happens is the deities. It's all one deity, but the deity appears differently to each religion.
When
But
we
we're all under
pass
one.
over. Mhm.
Yeah, we're all under one umbrella.
Umbrella. My father was a spiritualist. His mother was a New Thought spiritualist minister. When my father was killed when I was 6, my mother moved to Northern California. She married somebody who was a Protestant, but I married a Catholic. And so I became a Catholic, signed whatever, got divorced, asked the universe why bad things happen to good people. I was shown the spiritualist church, the same kind of grouping thinking process as my grandmother. Uh, my grandmother was a spiritualist, but she joined New Thought at the time. That was what it's acceptably called. Her side of the family were psychics and mediums, and she remembers as a child the ladies would get together Saturday night and do table tipping and automatic writing, everything that we could do nowadays. So it was just called in different generations. It was very popular the time that my grandmother was born, 1901. So it's kind of interesting. I do see that you're also a minister. You were raised Catholic.
I was too,
Yeah.
and I'm a
Uh,
minister.
and let's see, ordained Protestant minister. Absolutely. I joined Twitter so I could comment. Facebook does not allow it. At least here in Canada, I enjoy your radio. Thank you, sweetie.
Well, thank you very
And he
much.
was raised Catholic. The universal. I have a lot of names for the universe, and I have undeniable faith. Can't challenge me on that. It's just like crazy. And it's the universe, the divine, the diva, the man in charge. anything you want to, everything, call it. It's perfectly all right with me. But I was ordained in February of '92. I did it the hard way, and I was ordained in Sedona, Arizona. And at that time, it was just a little cow patty. And a few years after I was ordained, drove all the way there from Citrus Heights, California. And in some ways, I enjoyed it over the years, seeing it blossom into the community it is today. Um, let's see, suicide that fell from a higher floor and the spirit separated from the body and fell into a woman. I can't remember if I saw a video on this or I read an article. Shar, was that part of your show at one time, or did you hear
No,
that
I was
too?
going to ask you about suicides though, because I've run in
Okay.
as a ghost hunter. I've run into suicides.
Oh, so I'm going to talk about a couple different kinds of suicides. So this was I'm jumped. This individual wanted to commit suicide. He jumped off the top of a building. How many floors? It doesn't matter. Could have been 5 to 10. Who knows? And the woman heard everybody screaming outside, and she leaned out. And as the man went over the edge, he died of fright, or his body separated from the spirit. The body fell. She missed the body, but she didn't miss the spirit falling. So she moved, and she moved back, and the spirit went into her. And she ended up seeing counseling because after a while, she was very depressed, uncharacteristic of herself, had other desires for things that she doesn't usually, like beer or cigarettes, whatever. And the individual that took care of her felt the other presence about her. And
Mhm.
I have felt that before. Karen Rothstein of Roseville, California, and I are going to write a book. We so far, and we haven't done it recently, um, 32 cases of possession and attachment issues. And I've seen that quite a few times in the ghost investigations, Shar show, paranormal, other shows that I've been part of, even in my own investigations. So it's pretty common. I don't like that, but it's pretty common. So there's two that I just shared with you. The third one, um, there's two rather. The suicide that jumped off a cliff and stayed in the air. Very early in 91, I think 1991, I had started this May 4th, 1990. A woman came to the house. She was very stressed. It was terrible. It was terrible. She came to the house, and I'm so empathic. That's part of why I'm be able to do this. I felt like I was hit with a bunch of nails. It was just, make a long story short, if she's hearing this, I'm not using your name, location, anything. She had a college age son that went partying with a bunch of kids overlooking a valley, and there was a cliff up there, and we didn't know that he was under that kind of stress, and he ran. Everybody, kids were watching him. He ran. He was not pushed. He ran right off the cliff. His spirit separated from his body, and he ran straight out. How far can you run without falling? 2, 3 steps. I mean, what's a
Mhm.
momentum? But he ran really fast, and his spirit stayed in the air, and his body fell. And when I've talked to suicide spirit peoples, they're always really regretful. Um, the minute you do that, how many would fallen off the top of a building on the way down? You look and go, "Oh, this is going to hurt. I wish I hadn't done this." Seems to be a lot of regret. I don't like talking about suicide like this. It's very stressful for me too. I'm a mom and grandma, and to think young people have to do this, especially in today's media, there seems to be a lot of 20, 25, 30-year-olds that are killing themselves, and I really grieve for them as their family because they do regret it. Anyway, so the mom was telling me about this, and he's standing in the midair looking around and saying, "What do I do now?" And whoever was supposed to greet him, I can see someone now, but at the time it was very stressful for me. And he says, "What am I supposed to do?" And I says, "It's too late to change your mind. You need to
Mhm.
find out who's going to take care of you." And the hard part, this almost hurts my brain thinking about it. He never told his mother that he was unhappy. And he blamed his, he was in college, and his family had pressured him so strongly to pursue a career of his, not his choice. And he felt despondent, and he killed himself over it. And it was very, very difficult because if you're going to come get a reading from me, you better be prepared for the truth because I will speak the truth. I don't flower anything. Char knows that of me. So if you're meant to have an answer, I will give it to you. Well, this woman did not like my answer. And I'm sorry. I says he regrets the choice in college and he felt a lot of pressure from the family. He just didn't want to live anymore. And she couldn't handle it. Sometimes I say things, and as we grow older, because I was only 44 at the time, of 45, see, no, 42, 43, 43, and youth lacks some of the tools to be tactful. But I've
Mhm.
always told the truth because that's the only thing I know. You can't, I can soften it, but I have to tell the truth because people like me do readings. If we pick up information that has weight, volume to it, and it's part of us, and if we don't speak it, it never leaves our body. So I could say, I could pick something up, but if I don't let it go, that'll haunt me for years. Unbelievable. So I have to release it because it has weight and volume because it's the truth.
You know
And
what I
so,
found? Sorry about that. You
huh?
know what I found
Go
over
ahead.
the years doing this and being out in the field in contact, and dealing with these suicides with mediums such as yourself, is there is an immediate feeling after they do it of regret because it's not what they thought
I
it was
would say
going to
99% of them.
after they did it. And then they feel bad because their families are going through all this torment. If you talk to the people, and
Yeah.
I've interviewed a gentleman who has jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and survived,
Oh,
and he
that
said,
I did see an article on him.
yes, the second he let go of the rail, he regretted what he
Uh-oh.
did. And it's too late because you've let go of the rail and you're going over the
Instant,
edge.
it's
Yeah.
instantaneous.
And I handled a case, I'm not going to say where it was at, here in Central California, where a father of this family had, I think he shot himself. I'm trying to remember how it
Oh,
went. And he was still around the family, and they couldn't figure out why. And the family was just tormented. There were little kids involved, and the wife and all
oh,
this. And he was in the house, and he wanted to cuddle his family. He wanted to come back to help his family because he regretted doing it. And it's sad. The suicides are very, very sad. I don't know about these stories you hear of people. I mean, depending on your religion, like that limbo. I
mm,
don't know if that's there. I don't even know if that exists. But whatever it is it just the minute I think it's like anything else. When we're living, we're breathing, we're tasting, we're touching. We can feel
mm-hmm,
emotions. We can feel somebody else's
mm-hmm,
emotions. When you
mm-hmm.
die, all that's cut off suddenly,
Yeah,
and then you
you're
then
kind of
you
like in a
crave it.
void.
Yeah, you regret
Mm-hmm.
it, even though you supposedly you feel more joy when you move on. But what if you're stuck in that limbo, like this gentleman that this kid that jumped off the cliff, and he's just kind of hanging there
Yeah,
going,
that's limbo to me
"What did I
because
do?
they,
What am I gonna do?" Because he's hanging there. There's no
yeah,
place for him to go.
yeah,
So
and they want it. They want someone to know the story, and that's why
yeah,
he told me.
yeah, and that's
Hmm.
that regret. That's that regret, and then they just feel that regret because they okay, my story got told, but what happens now? I can't touch my family. I can't do this. I can't do that. So I mean, it's very
I,
sad, very very sad.
I think his point was is that I made a mistake. I shouldn't have let things bother me, but he did imply that he was desperate to have things change and he didn't know how. So I
Hmm.
always tell my parents, you have children to experience life. Let them live it. Let them choose.
Hmm.
And my generation, my children's generation, I remember thinking my children should do this or that, and yet it was the wrong thing to do.
And
And
John, in answer to your question, Nancy and I have differing opinions about that.
what?
Have you considered the possibility that the ghost is a demon that possessed the person that jumped? Um, we have differing opinions about that because I believe that there's demons out there because I've fought some real nasty things in my time, so I'm kind of leaning towards that. But Nancy's not so much a believer in that.
Um, I've been doing this so long, every day, almost every day. Shar, you move it a little away from the microphone. You're a little too close. Just push it a little bit. We're getting feedback on it. I believe that demons can bleed through from other universes or creatures, and we could see them as demons. But what I feel like, and I'm going to be careful how I word this, I don't want anybody to go ick, that people who are, and I have, unfortunately, I have witnessed this, um, they become a ghost, they become too attached. They want back on their body. They scramble even during the funeral to jump into the casket. They see their widow. move on. They get in the house, they're trying to grab, and so he's desperate ghost type of thing. He won't move on, and then unfortunately, then the wife remarries, and then he's living in the house, and he can't see, he can't hear. Children aren't recognizing him, and it ended up looking very scary to me. And then I felt like he was an insane soul. What he does now, I don't want to put the name of him out here. I don't want to think about him, put my mind to him like I just did. Back off, back off. The reason is I think they're so insane. They do stupid and crazy things, and they forget the boundaries of what they look like as a human being. And they create what I call the emotional stretching. Like they emotionally, um, yeah, and they'll have terrible repercussions of what they look like because they're so insane, they forget they were human at one time. All they have is a torment of what they did wrong, or that they killed himself, or this gentleman died accidentally, but he couldn't get back in his body. It was his time to move on. The wife was supposed to remarry, have another child. I don't have the answers. Only the divine has all those answers,
Hmm.
which grieves me because my father got killed when I was 6 by a drunk driver. My mother married and had my sister. Was that always meant to be that way? I don't have answers for everything. Thank God. I mean, it's
I can
too
agree
hard as
with
it
that.
is days.
I can agree with
Hmm?
that. I can agree with that. But there's been too many times that I have done investigations where something has attacked me, to where I've ended
Mm.
up with that whole 3 scratches thing going down my arm and stuff, even at my own house. That stuff's come home with me.
Ugh.
So I can agree with what you're saying because I believe that that happens as well. Okay, there are some people that get like that, but I also believe that well, the times that I've been scratched and attacked and stuff, that there might be something else going on. Now, whether it's demons or whatever,
Um,
that's to be told.
uh-oh.
What?
Shar, I don't know if you can hear me, but we're having some kind of connection issues. Your voice is sounding really tinny. John said he was kicked off, lost connection. He's trying to get back on. I thought you sound tinny off and on. So I don't know. Everybody pay attention. We may get cut off. We'll have to come back. Shar now is frozen. So here we go. I want to
What?
keep talking. I don't want people to think I'm left. I got a whole list here. Um,
I'm
so we
here.
covered suicides and suicide. If you're still frozen, with your hand in the air. So I okay. So I want to go on. We did talk of suicide. Anybody put another question about suicides? That is a topic that's uh, I don't think I have a suicide in my family, but we have had unfortunately some tragic deaths. My mother lost her father when she was 12. He fell out of a tree. My father lost his father when he was young. So I hope it's not pattern. I'm glad the pattern didn't happen to me, my husband, first husband with our kids. Um, when I was doing a cemetery tour, there was a fireman that got killed. And I mentioned this before. And he thought his wife would come and get him. So he was waiting. And in the cemetery, found another gentleman who had been alcoholic. He was drinking. He died. He sat on a divider during his own funeral, thinking that his wife would come out of her way and come get him.
Hmm.
Didn't know he was dead. Don't know. But people sometimes don't want to go on because they're waiting for someone. And the fireman that I covered in a previous show, John Betancourt had asked me who I'm seeing there, and he told me who he was, and that he was a fireman that got killed. He was only 32 years old, and it proven to be correct. And he said he was waiting for his wife and his daughter. Well, it was 100 years ago. And I said, "Do you have any idea what year it is?" I gave him all the things most ghost investigators would talk about. And I says, "I think you're so intent on watching who's coming and going. Well, we're really having something wrong, Shar, with our internet here. I hope it's all being recorded." That he was waiting. And that's really a big one why people won't leave. Someone they're afraid of. Oh, someone's on the other side and I did them wrong. If they're there, they're going to get me. Shar, I sure hope this is being recorded.
How's it look to you
Uh,
guys out there?
so,
Tell me how it's looking to you guys. Everything's fine on my end, recording and everything.
what would you say?
Everything's fine on my end.
you're frozen. So anyway, someone they are afraid of
Jen
that would
says it's
be there,
fine. Jen's
and it
over on
could be
YouTube. Sarah says it's fine. Sarah's over on
can't
Facebook.
understand you.
Okay, you might have to reboot.
Now I heard you, but you're frozen screen. Anyway, someone they afraid of it could be a priest, it could be an ex-wife. Um, I've been to situations where the deceased person is scared of someone in the church because it was the ex-wife or husband. I think it is Nancy said she keeps freezing. I
Okay.
don't see anything like that, Sarah. My screen has been fine so far. So
Hang on,
I
everybody.
believe
I'm gonna reset StreamYard here. So just don't go anywhere, okay? Just hang in there.
can
I'm
I
just gonna, but I'm gonna get back on the internet. I'm gonna log back in the internet. Hang on.
so I continue talking.
Yeah,
So we
continue
can all
talking.
appreciate what we all could be afraid of. Um, Not really, I guess, because I'm not really afraid of anybody. But if I were afraid of somebody and I knew by passing into the
Okay.
in
Now,
the
everybody
afterlife,
slow
you
down.
go,
I'll be right back. Everybody quiet.
oh, I get the whole screen. Okay. A lot of people are afraid to pass over because they are afraid to go to hell. And how many people you've heard stories like that? I don't know. How many times have you done a ghost investigation and someone said, I can't leave because I know on the other side someone's going to be putting me to hell. And I think our point of reference by um, a church environment, they may impress upon you that if you're a bad person, you're going to go to hell. And unfortunately, they have a near death experience.
Yeah. See.
And then that's where they end up going to their created visualization of hell. Are you back, Shar?
Yep.
I hope this has all been recorded. Um, so they're afraid to go to hell. I've yet to hear anybody say they're afraid to go to heaven. The person who is afraid, this is an actual case, afraid to see somebody in the afterlife, that would be a hellish condition to me.
Mm-hmm.
When we pass over, I do realize, and I'm going to see something very carefully here, we are who we are on this side when we pass over. So if you had a father that was a grumpy, bumpy kind of a guy, blah, 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 he may be that way because it takes time to kind of think it through. Um, and I do believe in reincarnation. I didn't before. I actually did not. And I've had so much proof over these years that it's unbelievable. These are clients and friends of mine, family members, who talk of their 2 and 3-year-old talking about a past life. Can't make it up. It just can't. If a bad person loves pain and suffering, wouldn't their definition of hell be a normal person's definition of heaven? No. Mm-mm. If a person loves pain and suffering, they're going to create an environment of pain and suffering. Okay. I think there was another question here.
The other thing I want to add to before I bounced off, when you talk about the person that was waiting for somebody and then being afraid of crossing over, going over, Wilden Opera House, perfect example. Perfect example.
Oh, is that the
There's
one I
two.
did with you? You did it.
I don't think so. No, there's two
Uh,
ghosts. There's two main ghosts in the Wilden Opera House. I'm going to say main ghosts because there's several. And
okay.
it's a fireman that was killed in a fire because he got locked into the opera house by accident.
Was that in
And,
Davis? I thought I did
Wilden,
one. Woodland.
maybe
I
you
thought
did
I did with you.
with Sacramento, paranormal when you were Sacramento Paranormal. So maybe you did that. Um, so he gets killed. What they didn't know at the time was that the guy that set the fire was also in the building.
So guess
So
what?
now,
The bad
yeah,
guy's also.
now you got a firefighter in there with the guy that killed him and tried to burn down all the women. So what's
Oh.
going on is the guy that's dead, the guy that set the fire is afraid to cross over because of what he did. Probably a Catholic, we don't know. He probably, he's afraid to cross over. But in the meantime, the fireman won't cross over because the fireman is tormenting the guy that set the fire.
And the fella that created the fire, is he aware of the fireman? I don't remember this.
Yeah, they're
Fireman.
aware of each other, so they chase each other.
Oh,
The fireman's chasing this guy all over the opera house.
oh my gosh, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't remember that
crazy.
aspect.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh.
So it
Anyway,
does happen.
Sarah said I was, what someone said, she has a cool theory about heaven and hell, jumping a little. I think it's Nancy says she keeps freezing. I don't have anything going on with mine at all. Um, somewhere in the atmosphere, somewhere. Because to me,
Yeah,
Shar was freezing.
yeah, Jen, it is funny and sad at the same time because yeah, that fireman's not going to go until the other guy goes, and the guy's not going to go, so the fireman figures that he's gonna go, chase him and stuff around the building. So it's going on. I
So
mean, it's crazy.
before I go to the next entry, I want to let's stay with they are afraid they would go to hell. Um, we're talking of ghosts, spirits that are thinking and conscious. Um, when I was doing the cemetery tours, I came across spirits who are frozen in their grief, and
Hmm.
they're stuck. They're the true definition of a ghost because all I can do is continually tumbleweed into their grief.
Hmm.
There's other aspects, tumbleweed and think about drugs all the time. That would be another one. There's true ghost situations, and then there's something I call semi-ghost situation. They're thinking and they're creating
Hmm.
their life, but it never changes. And I'm very careful about this. I believe my own thought now. All ghosts wake up eventually. And there's a movie I made reference to some months back. It's called The Ghost. Casey Affleck, Ben Affleck's brother, was the main character, and he died died at a car accident. Got in the hospital in the morgue, had a sheet over him. He gets off the gurney, and all of a sudden he has the black spots for the eyes, and he goes home, and he's there. He doesn't interact with his partner. She hasn't moved, but he stays there thinking she'll be back for him. And it goes on and goes on. And I recently watched it again. It was kind of like by accident. It was on one of those cable shows, and it's almost like a replete of his world. Like goes way into the future, and then he back up, and then got to see it because I think the ending kind of threw me off. But the end result was he now realized that she wasn't coming, and he disappeared. They do wake up. They do wake up. My situation, I've talked with ghosts, and then someone mentioned to me, "Oh, is that ghost still there?" And they are gone. And
Hmm.
if you're truly stuck, you're doing a ghost
Hmm.
investigation. Those are semi-conscious spirit ghosts or spirits that don't want to leave. And the next one, I'll tell you why. A ghost won't answer you, or they'll just repeat their trouble.
Hmm.
They are almost stuck in the loop. So in ghost investigations, they're mostly semi-conscious and they'll answer, but they're still in the loop, or they're spirits who wish not to leave that situation,
Hmm.
particularly
Hmm.
children. They're waiting for the mama to come back. They're playing with the toys, which breaks my heart. Like,
It is
So the
heartbreaking.
next one is,
Well, like in that
uh-huh.
hotel in Grass Valley, it's heartbreaking
Hmm.
because they've got children in this hotel that are pranking people and doing all this stuff, and the mother's ghost is there too. But the problem is because they died at different times, they're on
There
different
was,
planes.
mhm,
So the mother's looking for the
right.
kids. The kids are looking for the mother. They can't find each other.
Um, I think that spirit passes over.
Mm-hmm.
They will always be there at that child's place, but the
Mm-hmm.
child doesn't know to look.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Has to be awakened.
Yeah.
Um, so everybody, I've been talking about this. I live with a ghost, and there's two of them. The man we see a lot. My husband walks through them all the lot. It's fun to talk about. I live in a house about 40 years old. So the first owner, and we have a bigger house. We're in a manufactured home subdivision for seniors, and it's 2,000 square, 1928. Think I know it's a bigger one, all in this area because I run an office, so I have it in here. And it's really a nice one. So come to find out, my husband calls me up and he says, that's when I was living in Hornbeck, hadn't sold the house up there, and I was waiting to get down here. Whether we move again, uh, right now I'm too tired, so maybe eventually we'll get to stick home again in the country. So anyway, so one day he says to me, Nancy, okay, what? There's a ghost here. I go, really? My husband is the all American man. He does not, you know, you have to really, he has to really see the guy, right? And so he was down here and he had called me up and Nancy, we have a ghost. I go, wow. Yeah. So eventually I came down and I saw him. And he's 6 foot something, long legs, long arms, short torso, high waist thing. And I casually told the manager here, and she says, by golly, there's someone who lived here 40 years ago, one lady. And she went and talked to her, and found out that the description was the first owner. Not only that, but he was the manager of all these homes in here. There's 150 plus. Um, someone I trust, we put our heads together and found out that the closet, the big it's huge walk-in closet. I mean, it's mine, right? And one side of it was full of guns and rifles. And I told the lady that, and I gave a lot of description of what he looked like. And then I saw him one day walk through the front door into the street, and I saw him put one leg out, and he leaned back on one leg, and he turned around, he looked up one way, and he had his hand on his hip. And I go, what is that about? So I told Rebecca, and she got back to me. She says, well, he was the manager. He was the big honcho here. And he did have the guns, and it looked like just what you said. And then I saw the wife, and I told her about that woman. And she says, well, that's who she was married to. And of course, I do this, so I can't deny it. She says, how did you know? And I went, oh, the cat's out of the bag. I was trying to be discreet, but I had to know because my husband saw it. And one night, after it was confirmed, he calls me up. He's the man that watches every sport, everything on TV that's man-related, kung fu fights. He says to me, I'm going to offer him a drink. I go, you are? And he drinks a drink a week, on the nights of the big fights. And he got the bourbon in a glass, and he put it at the other end and said him sit down. And he saw the cushion on the couch lower. The guy sat down with him. It's like, is that possible? And the only thing I'm saying is my husband has the male energy kind of a thing, very high male energy. So the man must have recognized it. What would you think about someone living in your house? How does that work? But so I found out that the gentleman that lived here has not left. And the reason is, I'm being really careful with this. I don't want someone to misunderstand this. If he's the owner and they manage the whole place, and he has put in the biggest, best home possible, he doesn't want to leave it. He goes into the street and stands there and says, I own all this. Ego can keep you here. What if you're the best in your sport? Best. And you die young. Or like someone, a guitarist just died, meningitis or something. What if their ego's so wrapped up in this? They're on stage every time there's an event. Why should you leave? You're enjoying your world. I was talking to a friend, and she didn't know this. And we were just talking about what we would do in the afterlife. And she says, oh my God, I see you on a big brown horse riding. And I really love horseback riding. I was a competitive horseback rider, believe it or not, and 10 years worth. And I stopped because my ankle was so weak from stepping in a pothole carrying my daughter from drive-in theater bathroom to the car. And so someone said to me, we can see your ankle doing this. It's so weak. Why don't you start running? And I started running, and I found out I could run. So I gave up the horse. But the horse environment was so satisfying to me that I will now take it into the afterlife. I don't think I'm going to be a ghost. So whatever you do in this life, you can take there, but I never became obsessed about it. So even that you can do more of. But what if you're absolutely obsessed and this is your ego and this is who you are? And I wouldn't say that these people who died recently are still on stage, or they're still in the movies, or they're still. I hope not. I hope not, because ego is a big deal. You can be conscious and be on stage. One of the things I want to do is play the piano. So what if I start playing the piano? And so I could learn how to play the piano, but as a spirit person, I can join someone on stage, Carnegie Hall, in a play of Mozart and play along with them. You can pursue your hobbies. Absolutely. Because
Were
this
you
woman
not
didn't
part of
know.
that Sacramento Paranormal investigation at the Sacramento Theater Company when they went in?
I thought one of them, I spent so many
Maybe
years
that's
on
what
it.
you thought. Because I remember when you were with them, because I remember they're the ones that came out to the Woodland Opera House when I was on the newspaper in Woodland, but you weren't. I don't think you were there. I think You were at the Sacramento Theater Company one because I remember you go out.
I can't
You're even
remember.
written down in someone's book report about it. And
Oh,
when you talk about these stars, and here's something I talked about last night on the show when I was free flying last night, yakking my yakking my brains out. Not hacking, yakking, guys. I was talking about Madame Macheska from the Woodland Opera House, and Madame Macheska was there. Was sang at the Opera House, performed at the Woodland Opera House, and a lot of the Northern California theaters for years up until her death. And she also performed at the Sacramento Theater Company.
ah,
And she dates back to, and I did, I should check my dates today because I'm an idiot. Should have had my V8. But she dates back to the early 1900s, late 1800s,
ah.
early 1900s, and she's still performing. They say that she's still in a lot of these little theaters, and it's just
Oh,
like you
she's
say,
seen in the theater, so that's the
yeah,
same.
it's an ego thing like that to be in the theaters. The actors come back all the time. That's what's fun about doing. Well, that's doing. That's what's fun about investigating old theaters, because these stars are still there. They're performing. They're still doing their thing. There's an opera singer that they hear. If you go to, and you can ask, go to Placerville if you're ever in California, and go to the Chamber of Commerce building on Main Street. There is an opera singer that they hear, and who knows why? Because that was a hangman's tree over there. So who knows? Maybe it was a saloon or something. I don't know. But they say
I
that
doubt
in the
they were
back of this
hung.
building,
Oh,
they say in the back of this building, you can hear an opera singer. It's really kind of cool.
yeah. People are still
You know?
performing,
Yeah. But Madame Macheska is
and I don't
interesting
see wrong
because,
with that. I mean,
yeah, and Madame
why not
Macheska, it's
pursue?
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting with Madame Macheska because she's not only like, she's more famous for the Woodland Opera House, right? But I mean, she's
Uh-huh.
like if there's an opera house that's old, that's in Northern California or even the Gold Country, she's performed there,
Wow.
and her ghost is seen there because she's still on tour.
So she's still on. I was just going to say that she's still on tour. Yeah.
she's still on tour.
We we have eight more minutes. Let me go through some of these real quick.
Go ahead.
Do
Sorry.
not want to leave. Hold on. No. Do not want to leave control to someone else, or like if
That too.
somebody who owns a big company and they have a wife and the wife inherits all of it. Oh no.
Yep.
So that person will stay around that wife and maybe try to control her.
Hmm.
I already mentioned looking for someone, afraid they will miss somebody. I mentioned that they want someone to come get them. If they left, mama may come back. Statement from children, which is terrible.
Right.
Things they are still not well. You died from a condition you had. Sometimes they can have a hard time realizing they died from the condition. I can appreciate someone dying from it, the flu or something really quick. They go, wait a minute, I'm not dead. It
Oh,
doesn't
that
happen
one
to
I have in my
everybody.
house. That one that's in my house.
I can't
Remember
remember.
the one that's
Refresh my.
the one that's attached to the land, the fisherman. He fell
Oh,
and
you told me.
cracked his head open and died and died from blood
Yeah.
loss, and he's still hanging out because he doesn't realize he's dead. He's gone mad.
Yeah. I do want to mention a couple things. I've already talked quickly about this. We will create what you're expecting. We talk about heaven and hell.
Hmm.
If you watch near-death experience videos on YouTube, like here, a lot of sometimes they'll say, "I was thinking I would go to hell, and it was shown to me to be that way." If you want to see the deity of your choice, from
I think
Muhammad
so.
to they will show up and be there for you. Animals that will greet us, also animals we leave. Now, you've heard the old expression, the cat lady. Well, let me tell you, these cats of mine own us. My husband and I laugh all the time. What if I passed over and they were left alone? I would absolutely be stuck in this house.
Yeah.
We also can have those same animals greet us if they go ahead of us. But being stuck in a house because of animals in Southern California, this 18-year-old young guy hurried to a rescue for parrots, and he got there to feed them. What if he had been killed on the way? His soul spirit would go into that um, sanctuary for the parrots and try to feed them because that was his goal. That was what he was expected to do. And I'm so glad he didn't get killed. Of course, if I'd been his mom, I would have shook his shoulders a little bit.
Hmm.
But those parrots are so precious to him, and they showed a picture of a parrot on his shoulder. Okay, that would be really something. Um, angels and guardians that try to help us, a lot of times when people still pass over, if they get stuck, the angels and guardians will absolutely try to intercede if a family cannot. And I've seen this a couple of times. A woman, February of 92, was doing a fair in Vacaville. Patricia and her family, she lost a 24-year-old girl. Um, and when the woman was dying in bed, it had only been a year or so prior. So I left here, went back, saw the girl in bed dying, and hand was being held by mom. The woman that greeted her to take her over was an angel person. The portal was there. The woman was reaching for the daughter and said, "Come with me, come with me." And she had been ill so long she wanted to leave her body. And in that instant, she looked at me, which scared the dickens out of me. And she says, "My mother won't let me go. Tell her to let go of my hand." And I said, "Oh my gosh, what, your daughter just looked at me and told me to let go of for you to let go of her hand." So the living person wouldn't let go of the dying person. That
Mhm.
was keeping her there. Sorry. The minute I said that, the girl in the picture said to me, "Thank you."
And
So
that's why
we
there's
can talk about
well another show
we
we
can
can
talk
talk
about
about this because sorry to interrupt, but there's a lot of cases about if you ever wondered, and I've been doing I've seen a lot of research on this from hospice nurses as well, because they're right on the front lines with this stuff, where the person that's
Mhm.
dying won't die until you go out to go to the bathroom or something, when you leave the room, because
Mhm.
it's not that they feel that you're holding them back, but they feel bad because they're letting go, so it's easier if you're not in the room for them to
Right,
go.
absolutely true. My
Yeah.
grandmother died. Two lady friends from work. I worked at Auburn, California telephone company for 24 years, but she died in that 86. And the two ladies would go and sing to my grandmother because they knew her. And uh, they left at 4:45, and I wasn't going to get off work yet, but it was very close to where it was. And they said, "Nancy's getting off work at 5. If you would like to leave, now would be a good time." And they left, and she did die.
Hmm.
What I'm talking about here is, and this is going to hurt your head. I talked to a couple other people about this, and they said, "Nancy, you hurt my brain. I can't comprehend this." I believe sitting here today, anybody can go back and remember something that was hurtful, and you can forgive that person or forgive yourself. That new timeline will roll to where you are now. Patricia's daughter had a hard time passing over because mom would let go.
Hmm.
That was created a domino effect when she talked to me. And I don't believe there's accidents. I think the universe said, "We've got to talk to Nancy because she can see what's going on here." She, in that moment, remembered what she was doing. And in remembering, wish she had let go sooner, she let go. The spirit of an angel lady grabbed the daughter's hand and pulled her through the portal.
Hmm.
Unbelievable. So the daughter was released, but it wasn't anybody she knew. It was an angel that she recognized to be an angel lady was able. So you think grandma and grandpa, why not? Well,
I believe
children
it.
are greeted sometimes by celestial beings because it's
Hmm.
wow, it's
Yeah, I
it's
believe
the
that.
universe talking.
I can see that. I can see that. I can see
Right,
that.
right. Yeah. And so favorite relatives and hunting buddies can also greet us to get our attention. So someone's not stuck, but they're kind of like confused. Favorite relative could show up, and it's not always mom and dad. I did a
Hmm.
couple. That a lady talked to a lady a long time ago, and she was asking who greeted so and so, and a lady showed up with a tray full of chocolate chip cookies. And I'm talking to this lady over the phone, and I thought they were ethnic because I saw this little tiny woman with chocolate chip cookies, very dark. And she says, "Oh, that was my neighbor. She greeted mom. Oh, I've always missed her. She was someone that loved us kids, and she then died. And then when mom died, she was there to greet her with the chocolate chip cookies. Doesn't have to be mom and dad." Another lady lost her husband, and she called me. She'd been in. I've been involved with her life while the husband was ill, and he got ill. Then he passed away, and she says, "Who greeted him?" And I saw these two men with sticks, and then all around them were these larger animal kind of things. And or it was three men. I think it was three men. And the woman said, "I know who this is. Those are his three buddies that passed before him. They all went hunting together in Montana. And what you're seeing is a big animal or deer." So it was the idea of catching up with his friends to be able to pass over and go hunting. Rather, that's an imaginary. I don't kill things anyway either,
Mhm.
but the era that they did in the 60s and the 70s or 80s, whatever that was. No, I apologize. It was much later than that, the 90s, I guess. In some ways, that's exactly what he needed to see to get excited about leaving his body and to be awakened to do so. Let me see if there's a, I still have more over here. Okay, I
Well,
finally got through the list and it's
I keep
7:30.
I keep blinking off the screen. I'm lucky to have internet. I mean, there's people in my neighborhood that still don't have power. It's crazy. That storm was nuts, and I've got a big tree
So
branch
that's what
down
the
in my
problem is.
backyard. It's Nancy saw the photos. My backyard looks like I went through a war. I mean, it's just craziness back there. You
Hurricane
guys,
looking
yeah, you guys have
or
seen
tornado.
my aloha yard and how pretty it is. Well, good luck with that because it looks like the tsunami went through, man. So yeah, so it's crazy. It's a
Maybe
lot of
should have reversed this. I should have opened it up and called you. And I thank you, a couple of you. Comedy
yeah,
clubs, I could see where a comedian would be hailed as a great comedian, and they want to be back to it.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
Well,
Marissa.
look
Hello,
at
Sarah, Jen.
real quick.
Um,
Look at that casino in or the old Hollywood Wax Museum because to this day it's built on the site of one of the big I think the International Hotel where Elvis performed. And
ooh,
so they
I didn't
hear
know
him
that.
at night. When they go to close up the wax museum, they hear Elvis singing.
Oh my gosh. I
He's
wonder if he's
still
still
there
on stage.
yeah, he's still on stage. Just like the Hilton, that's the same thing too. We'll just throw that in. If you watch, what was the one that used to have all the celebrity ghost stories, And well, I think I forget Humperdinck or somebody talks about it. God forbid he gets mad at me, but he talks about being on stage and he looks up and he sees Elvis up in the sitting up in the balcony, watching him because he's still coming down to see the shows and perform on that stage. So they're
I
still
don't
there.
think he's the only one.
Yeah, there's a
I don't
lot of
think
them
he's
that.
the only one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot. All
So
right, guys,
we're doing pretty.
go ahead.
One thing she at the very end, Jen might have been the one that mentioned a different show. I do readings. I'm just not doing the big events like psychic fairs anymore. So at the end is my website, nancymatz.com, if you can write it down later on. And I thank you everybody for staying with us during all the computer issues. I think it's for, like Shar said, she's lucky to get internet and have
Yeah, if
power.
you stay on after
All
the
right.
show, I can talk to you about something. So just hang out in the green room when we get
Yep,
done.
yep. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. Anyhow, here we go. Here comes the end spiel. Let me get my little thing up here. Where's my little thingy? Buttons, buttons. Who's got the buttons? Okay. More buttons. I can't see. My glasses suck. And it's like, just like when I go to start the show, I have to be clicked on myself, or because the little mouse arrow is white, and the background on StreamYard is white, so I can't see where my stupid mouse is. Okay. If you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. We are equal opportunity here at California Haunts Radio. And if you were watching from Facebook and you liked all the screw ups with the internet and everything else we said, please be sure to hit that like button and hit that follow button. Always looking for followers, right? Whether you're on my Facebook page or whether you're on the California Haunts Ghostly Events page, follow us, follow us, follow us. YouTube, here we go. There we go, right there. It's harder when it's on a smaller screen. There we go. That's my little ghosty. That's my little ghost guy, and he is my mascot. And you click on him, and that will subscribe you to our YouTube page at youtube.com/at California Haunts Radio. And we have more than 480 videos sitting over there that you can peruse, and they're all different types of topics, not just paranormal, just like tomorrow's guest who I'm about to announce. So yeah, check that out. If you're watching from Twitter, which somebody did today, and they ended up coming in that way from Twitter, we are Cal Haunts on Twitter, and I'm Ghosty Gal on Instagram. We are California Haunts on put the TikTok. I can remember all these things, man. On TikTok, it's all lowercase. And let's see, yeah, we're California Haunts on California Haunts Radio on YouTube, and we're California Haunts on Facebook or under my name. It just boggles the mind.
I'm
And
right.
Twitch. I think we're California Haunts on Twitch. I think. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for coming tonight, and do share this. I mean, if you like what you heard, please share, because we're trying to get the word out. Everybody's doing really good at doing that, and I really appreciate that, especially the people on the RSS feed and all that, over at Apple and iHeartRadio and all those places. So that's cool. Tomorrow we're shifting gears. Did I hear a crowd? No, okay. A gentleman named Professor Slim King is going to be with us tomorrow. And we are going to be talking about, and this is something I've been wanting to have on for a long time, D.B. Cooper. We're going to be talking about the legend of D.B. Cooper, and he also knows a few things about John F. Kennedy that we're going to be talking about, and maybe some other spooky stuff, but mainly D.B. Cooper. And I've been dying, I hate that word, but I've been wanting to talk to
just up our alley
for years. Yeah, it's right up our alley. And so he's going to be on with us tomorrow, so be sure to see that show, even though it's a little flippy flop thing. But he'll be with us tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. All right, well, I'm going to shut up, and I'll show you Nancy's book info and her contact info, and then I'm going to have a little chat with Nancy after the show. Nothing bad, guys. She'll still be here. But, I got to get some stuff going here, and I have questions for Nancy. So here we go, and without further ado, I'm going to pull Nancy off of here. Where'd you go? There you go. And I'm going to show Nancy stuff. All right, so let me get the right thing to push the right. I hope I have the right buttons. I have two things here, so let's see. Is it that one? Websites, nancymatz.com, all lowercase. nancymatzauthor.com, and that's capital N, M, and A.com. And then youtube.com/Nancy Matz Psychic. And then we've got Help Get Me Out of This Funk by Nancy Matz. Oh, you hear that? Oh, guys, I got something to point out to you while I'm on the air here. Oh, yeah, this is perfect. 2 Worlds, Developing Your Psychic Skills by Nancy Matz. Oh, that's perfect. I'll tell you what I'm talking about in a second. And The Unwilling Sacrifice by Nancy Matz. And, of course, you can get those at Amazon. And also, the links to readings from Nancy are also in the description for the show. Okay, I don't know if you can hear this. I'm going to turn the mic up a little bit. Remember I was telling you guys about having a sound bank of sounds for EVPs? Okay, so check this out. I'm going to turn the mic up. Of course, it won't do it now. Why, you dirty? Okay, well, anyway, I don't know if you heard that while I was reading off Nancy's stuff. Okay, just got my mic up. I don't know if you heard that while we were reading off Nancy's stuff. I was reading off Nancy's stuff. But the chair, when I would turn it, was sounding like a dog whimpering. Like dog sounds. That's the stuff you got to look out for when you're doing EVP work. Yeah. Anyway, that was just something I wanted to share with you, but the chair stopped doing that. But I hope you guys were able to hear that because it sounded just like a dog making noises and kind of whimpering. Okay, anyway, I'm done now. Have a good night, everybody. See you tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Pacific.